like phones, laptops, desktops, and tablets. Get up to 4 months of ExpressVPN for free at expressvpn.com/Kim. That's expressvpn.com/Kim. Go now while you're thinking about it. Get up to 4 extra months of ExpressVPN for free right now at expressvpn.com/Kim.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 27 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
Happy Tuesday morning, everybody. Welcome to Talkback on Tuesday. Nathan Martin, Stephen Maxwell in this day as Al takes his weekly day off and recovers from his long Monday as LCU is back in classes, and Professor Quartermont is indoctrinating new students in the morals of ethical journalism.
He's proselytizing journalism.
And probably trying to recruit from other studies, right? He recruited you.
That's true. It kind of inadvertently, but it happens.
Inadvertently.
The only reason I got into journalism for the most part was I saw Al. I had a baseball hat on, and I think Al made a comment about my baseball hat.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, yeah. He was like, he goes, you like sports? I was like, yeah. He goes, you do like sports radio, whatever. And I got into it.
Isn't that funny?
And then Mike Johnson, Pineville Mike Johnson, is the reason I probably got in the news in the first place, too.
Oh, yeah?
Because I covered, at the time, what do we call it? Treasury Secretary? What do we call it? The Secretary
of the Treasury
in Louisiana. Whenever Kennedy was the Treasury guy,
Secretary
he
of the
came
Treasury.
and talked to Narby at Louisiana College, and I had to cover it for my class. I did not want to do news. The idea of that just bothered me, and I did like a package of it, and Mike Johnson helped me with it, or just like help get me coordinated and stuff. And so he always claims that he got me in the job because that story got me a job at KLV. So.
There you go.
Good times.
I heard, I think recently was it yesterday on the show, y'all were saying Pineville Mike as opposed to Shreveport Mike. So
I like, we'll ask him what he wants to be called.
Yeah, of course.
But it's getting kind of confusing. And if he becomes Speaker of the House.
Oh my, can you imagine?
That'll be hilarious.
It would be funny.
That'd be a great story. So.
Oh my goodness. Well, you're still wearing a hat, except today it's a Sinlaw Update hat.
Yeah, I got the Sinlaw Update hat if you're watching the live stream. So I'm going out on some outdoor shoots in Avoyelles Parish, so I didn't feel like wearing pants or fixing my hair.
That was one of the things the ladies that were part of the show for a long season, Sandra and Trish, commented that once we brought these cameras in, it totally changed the prep work for coming into the show because a guy can just throw on a cap, and he's good to go. But poor things, they have to do a little extra work.
Well, girls can put on a cap.
Well, they could. Yeah, they could. And Sandra sports one very well. I've seen her a couple of times with that. Miss her voice. She's got a great business going on, and compliment her and all that she's doing. If I can take a point of personal privilege, as they say sometimes, I want to wish my wife a happy anniversary today. It is 38 years ago today that we said I do, and we still do. So 38 years later, we'll still... and as you said before the show, congratulations to her, because she's probably had to put up more than...
You said condolences.
Yeah, well, I did, because she's had to put up with, you're not sure who gets more of the credit. Well, and, we will say it's a joint effort. I had a joke I used to use for a little while, a couple of years. When we were married about 20, 25 years, I would say, yeah, we've been married X number of, we've been married 20 years, and it's been 16 of the happiest years of my life, or something like that, trying to be funny. And after about the second or third time I said that, everybody, that finally she looks at me and she goes, "You've had that many happy years?" And you know what? I will never use that line again.
I love like self-deprecating dad joke stuff.
Yeah.
Like, this is how I am. And
right.
I just don't feel like some people get it, or they think I'm serious. So
well, I
gotta be careful.
I think the joke was, and my wife just texted me, "Thank you, sweetheart. I love you too."
Oh. You've been married longer than I've been alive.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I guess you can call me Pops. That's true, because you're the age of one of my kids.
32, I think.
With them. Yeah, my daughters are 36, 34, and 31.
Wow.
So you're right there in the middle of them.
Wow.
And then we have the 19 and the 15. So we're the cabooses that are coming along.
Oh, man. I don't know how y'all do it. all them kids.
It's that wife. I'm
you
telling
and Al. So,
Al's got me beat by one, I believe. Now, he's got 6, right?
he's
I
got
5.
7.
Oh, he's got 7?
Yeah.
Well, you lose track after a while.
He forgets too. He forgets. Hey, someone commented Louisiana State Treasurer. So I guess it was just state treasurer.
Thank you.
I don't know. I was thinking of
Brain
secretary.
glitches right there.
Yeah.
Have you ever used the treasurer's lost funds, unclaimed property tool?
No, I mean, I've covered it in the news, but
Have
I've
you
never
ever
used
looked?
it. No, I haven't.
You need to look. It's really an interesting thing. I have found money there a few times.
Really?
And in fact, I think I have a check coming right now from them. I was at the Louisiana Municipal Association and back in Lake Charles, back at the beginning of the month, and they had a booth, and I stopped in and checked, and I had some money waiting for me. So
I don't get it. How does that work?
So what happens? Let's say, for example, you live someplace, you pay a deposit. And you move out and you don't get your deposit back. They if they can't find you, they turn that deposit over to the treasury, to the unclaimed property. It's not their money. It could be an insurance payment that you didn't know about. It could be insurance is probably one of the common ones.
Okay.
Maybe there was a refund check that was due you and you had moved by the time the check not bounced back, but returned to sender. And so being the good fiduciary responsible companies they are, they turn it over. And now we have one I'm working through right now. This was a difficult one. My grandmother, who passed away about 20 years ago, has some money in her name. And so I'm helping my dad and his sisters make that claim. And there are some hoops you have to jump through. You have to provide the death certificate, and you have to provide probate and, show where it went to, but they're supposed to be getting a decent sized check that it's enough for them to jump through the hoops to get.
Wow.
And you
Let's
just never
check here in
know.
a second.
Yeah. Let's do that on live
Let's
online.
see how it works.
So that's a fun thing.
I'm afraid if I put it in there, like, actually you owe people money.
No, I don't think they do that.
I'm afraid they
It's
would
actually
for
one of
me.
their favorite things to do, though. When I talk to the Treasury Department, his staff, they absolutely love helping people find their money. If it's small amounts and you can, give them a copy of your driver's license or whatever, they'll issue the check immediately. They'll come right to you in just a few days. Sometimes you have to proving. Like now, my daughter in Mississippi, she's got to jump through a hoop, and I helped them with that this last time. She had a deposit she had paid when she lived, I think, in Woodworth, and then she got married. She moved to Mississippi, and her maiden name shows up. Well, she's moved 2 or 3 times since then. She's got a new last name, and so they helped us understand. Get the copy of the birth certificate, copy of the marriage license, sign an affidavit, a couple things like that, and then she'll get her deposit back. And
Wow.
Sometimes a $175 deposit or $300 deposit or even a $75 deposit can make a difference for you.
Oh, yeah.
Getting that
absolutely.
money back when you're not expecting
In
it.
this day and age where inflation just stays the same or goes up, we could use a little extra cash.
That's right.
Trying to
That's
see.
right.
I haven't found anything yet.
Louisiana.findyourunclaimedproperty.com is one place you can go.
I see a couple other Maxwells, but not me. So
Yeah, I guess
that
we could.
stinks.
Well, John Fleming would love to give you some money back. He says they've returned over $800 million. Check your wife's maiden name and see. We have a call. I've looked over and I've seen the call light flashing. Then I look back and it's gone. And I look back and it's flashing again. And then it's gone again. So
I know I don't have any deposits because, they always do the damages and it always gets eaten up by that.
Okay.
Oh, no, I didn't know I had damages, but hey.
Oh, that does happen. Yeah.
Well, let's see.
Well, check that out. Louisiana.findyourunclaimedproperty.com and put in your name or your business. You can also business names. That happen sometimes. People, have maybe somebody tried to pay a business bill and it didn't get to them, and so it was returned over. One of the most common ones, though, is going to be again utility deposits. There could be it could be wages. Sometimes somebody leaves a job and they didn't get that last check, and I don't know who wouldn't get their
Who would
last
forget
check.
that? So. I waited for mine for my last one. So.
No doubt.
All right, nothing from me or my wife.
Okay,
We tried.
You check both.
I was pretty sure.
Okay. Well,
I haven't been involved in a whole lot of money things.
yeah. Well, here's one, Martin. Sometimes they're very small amounts, like they'll say under $25. Sometimes they're big amounts, and so it's worth checking out. Yeah. Hey, we've got a good show for you today. We've got coming up in the second hour, none other than the inimitable Matt Ritchie will be with us. He is every other week with us on first and third Thursdays. We love getting the Central Louisiana Economic Update with Matt, and that's going to be a great hour of full information with him. But it's open lines from now till then, just like this phone call. Good morning. You're on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan.
So I've had this idea for a while. You're a pastor of a church, right?
Yes, sir.
How many people do you think are in your congregation?
Well,
approximately.
If they would all show up at the same time, there's a couple hundred. But they take turns.
I'm the guy that brought you an air conditioner several years ago to take to Mexico.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Anyway, I've had this idea before, and I had said something to somebody once before. You know, a lot of people have that unclaimed property, but they don't know how to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, you know what a way for a church to maybe set up on a particular day or a weekend with some people to assist them, and then you could do it. They could do it as a donation to the church, and you could call it something like Unclaimed Property for Christ or something like that. Well, you know, there's probably a lot of money out there, and if I was a member of a church and you helped me do it, and I got $125, I'll just give it to the church.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's just an idea. You might throw it around. I don't know the legalities of it or anything else, but I would think that you could set up in your church somewhere several guys with some computers
mm-hmm.
or laptops or whatever, and the person would come in and give you all the information, and you go through there and say, well, you don't have anything, or they might go through there and say, well, you know, you got $200, and they'd say, well, we'll just donate that to the church when we get it.
Well, you know, it's a neat idea. I will tell you, I would love to do it and not ask for the donation, just make it a service to the folks, because not everybody has a computer or is computer savvy, and you're right, some may say, well, look, let me help out, but I would not want to do that as my motivation for it. But I do think that's a cool idea. I wish I'd thought of it before, because we do have people in the church who are not computer savvy, and telling them the website.
They could sign the back of the check and drop it in the plate when they pass it.
Well, I'll let that be somebody else's idea, not mine. But I really like the way you're thinking, but especially about serving people. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
And thanks for that AC back there. All right, bye-bye. We'll take the bottom of the hour break. Be back right after this. More on
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics, with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. 2 broadcasters are joining forces. Nexstar is buying Tegna for just over $6 billion. Nexstar has more than 200 stations that it either owns or teams up with in 116 U.S. markets, and Tegna has more than 64 television stations across 51 markets, according to a press release. Home Depot's latest numbers suggest that shoppers are shying away from big projects. A key sales metric came in short of expectations in the latest quarter. It rose 1%. That was better than the quarter before. And U.S. leisure and business travelers are waiting until the last minute to book air travel. American, JetBlue, and Allegiant have all said they've only booked 20% or less of revenue from seats they expect to sell for the fourth quarter. They indicated that was less than what they would normally expect. But many trips are being booked less than 2 weeks ahead of time. That's making it hard for airlines to forecast the flying capacity they'll need. Stock futures have been narrowly mixed this morning. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
Good morning. Another sunny, very hot day. This afternoon, highs get near 97 degrees. The heat index could go as high as 110 this afternoon, and little if any breeze at all. What we will see will be out of the east. Tonight, clear skies down to 75, and then for Wednesday, another sunny, very hot day. About a 40% chance of some afternoon showers and thunderstorms in the forecast for us on Wednesday. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
Talkback. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK.
Talk back on Tuesday. It almost sounds like Taco Tuesday. Do you do Taco Tuesday, Stephen?
I do like tacos, but I don't have a specific day. I think every day is a good taco day.
I kind of feel like, I think it was his name, Wimpy, in the Popeyes commercial. He said, I will gladly pay you on Tuesday for a hamburger today, or something like that.
I don't remember that.
All right, well, I'll gladly pay you any day for tacos, because I love me some tacos. In fact, last weekend, we went down to Forest Hill and stopped at that little...
Oh, the one off of...
right there in town, where you have to kind of turn just before it. It's got a Mexican store plus the attached taco stand. You go buy your stuff inside.
Oh, the one off 165.
Right on 165.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of it. I can look at my receipts and find it. But some of the most authentic Mexican food you'll find. And it helps if you speak Spanish when you go there.
What is the highway when you're going down 165 and you turn left right there at the lights? I forget. They used to have one right there.
Okay.
But I guess it shut down when I was there the other day.
Okay. I don't recall that one. The one I remember, though, is the one right. Of course, Mi Tierra is the nicer restaurant a little bit further down. But when you head, when you're in Forest Hill and you hit that little store there, it's really a lot of the Mexicans use it. They send money back home to family. Inside the store is all sorts of truly authentic Mexican. Kind of like when you went to the international market in Nadar, they have their stuff that maybe the Arab community really, really likes. Well, this is all the spices, the Costeña brands, the stuff that people from Mexico really like. Oh, it's called El Jarochito Tienda en Taqueria. I can't say it in English.
Oh, I hear you. That one's been there forever.
It has, and their tacos are absolutely great. But they do a really good, like a shrimp cocktail. They have a thing called ceviche, which is an acquired taste. Ceviche is a fish.
Like in like a vinegary almost?
Yes. It's all, and some people say it's raw, that it gets cooked by the lime juice and the vinegar.
It's lime juice. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Yeah. It also has like cut up octopus in it and different stuff. Again, it's an acquired taste, but I absolutely love it.
I do too.
And you gotta like cilantro probably.
My wife is from Venezuela, so their family every once in a while they'll cook octopus. It's good. I love it.
I had no clue how good it was until a friend had me try calamari for the first time. And I'm like, man, that's just, a little chewy,
Well, it's squid, but
yeah, right, it is squid, right, very similar. But this is actually the octopus with the little suction cups and all that fun stuff.
It's good, man.
I don't know where they get their meat from, but.
That's good stuff.
I'll tell you another great Mexican place, truly authentic, is right there on the same 165 at Dantzler's Flea Market. If you know where Dantzler's Flea Market is, when you're leaving the South Traffic Circle, the only traffic circle.
Oh, you mean right here?
Just past Home Depot on the right-hand side. There's a big flea market there.
That yellow building?
That yellow building out front. And again, I don't know how much English they speak, but the less English they speak, the better the food seems to be.
I've never stopped at that one. I've never stopped at one in Forest Hill.
Dude.
But I used to go to Mi Tierra all the time.
You and I have talked about doing a food traveling show.
We should go there and do it.
That would be so much fun.
I can't do that
today.
as a Discover.
Yeah, I can't. We could do that. I can't do it today because I kind of got this anniversary thing going on,
No,
so
what's more?
Well, I'll tell you what's more important because she's listening. I'm grateful that she does.
Maybe next week.
I said out Dantzler's Flea Market on Google Maps. It's called Alexandria Flea Market and Storage. So I don't want to misrepresent. I thought I saw a sign that said Dantzler's years ago, but that one's called Taquiza Mexicana Restaurant. I know people joke. They're like, that's just what we need is another Mexican restaurant, but
there's a reason why they build them.
Yeah, they are. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Good morning. You're on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for taking my call. Glad to hear that Stephen has 3 more years to grow, and then he'll be old enough for president.
Oh, yeah.
32,
I'm almost
right?
there, yeah.
All right. Hey, we'll start your campaign now.
Please.
I'd be all for you. Anyways, I was calling about some sadder news.
Okay.
I heard a report yesterday that 3 Americans were killed by an illegal alien who had come in through California, was immediately detained, but then said he was afraid. He was from India, was afraid to go back to his home country of India, so they let him go. He got a driver's license even though he couldn't speak English, and he made an illegal U-turn in Florida last week, and now 3 Americans are dead. It's another example of ideas having consequences. I know we go back and forth with names, and I think it's important. A lot of people say, we need to all get together. Well, we do, if we're all in one accord. But right now we're not. And there's a group of people called Democrats that have a set of ideas that result in things like this. They believe that we should be a haven, a sanctuary for everyone, and that we should not effectively screen these people. And we know they believe that, even though they say otherwise. They believe that because of their actions. And so this guy came in, and now these people are dead, and Americans are suffering. Now he's going to prosecute him. Big whoopsie-doo. Even I think the jail there in Florida is probably nicer than where he came from. But we got to get back to where we see who's the cause, where's the root. Every time we hear of an event happening, we need to try as responsible voting citizens to trace its roots to where that idea originated, and then not vote for people with those ideas, and then we won't get that result. Anyways, I hated to put a damper on everything, but I didn't want to mess up Matt's segment. And for restaurants, if you talk to service people like air conditioner repairmen and stuff like that go into every restaurant, Trump made a comment the other day. He said his dad told him if the front door is dirty, the kitchen's probably dirty. When people come from other cultures, they have different standards of what they define as clean. And I've delivered in a bunch of restaurants. I'll just leave it at that. But if the food is good, then that's good too. So anyway, thanks for letting me speak my piece. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you, Dave. Always appreciate hearing from you. They've started doing these maybe weekly, and the Town Talk has started reporting these restaurant reviews of the health departments going around. And like Dave, I've talked to some service people in the past that were like, I will not set foot in certain restaurants because I've worked on their units or whatever.
It's got to be bad.
It is a challenge. Yeah, me too, because
I'm not very squeamish. Like, obviously, there's things I wouldn't like. And I've heard some stories from delivery people, too. Not Dave, but some others about restaurants in the area. And I probably won't go to because it was pretty bad. But that's just words.
I think some of the standards, they're so very necessary for cleanliness of the public in general, especially people with different levels of tolerances for food. But, word of mouth kind of spreads. People figure out where to go and where not to go, and over time the successful ones seem to continue. I will tell you, these taco stands are not necessarily the cleanest, but I eat on the streets in Mexico all the time, and I call them diesel tacos because you're standing there with the diesel fumes poured across your face as the trucks drive by, but they taste extra good because of the diesel fumes. I don't know.
The facts of the case that he was talking about, all true. He was an Indian. He came across the California border illegally. He did get some sort of
work permit.
Well, he got that, but he also said that he felt in danger going back to India, so he had to pay like a fine and then court fines, and he was allowed to stay for a little bit longer. He got that CDL, allowed him to drive a truck. However, with responsible immigration, I'm just curious, how would you screen someone to make sure that they drive a truck correctly? Because I know plenty of Americans that don't drive a truck correctly.
I think the interesting thing is that many of the how can you do a CDL without speaking English? And that was one of the things that other drivers were saying. So many CDL drivers can't speak English. And I guess you could memorize a truck, what the signs are, what a yield is versus, and speed limits and stuff. But that should be some sort of, I would think, minimum standard. And
how would English? I don't know how English would have changed him making an obviously wrong U-turn on the interstate.
Well, maybe he would have known when he read the book that you don't make U-turns on the interstate. I don't know the answer to that. I know it's got people up in arms. I know truck drivers are really upset about the number of illegals who are getting CDLs. And then there's some pushback between Florida and California because the CDL was issued in California. The wreck happened in Florida, and I heard this morning on another podcast that the governor of California was saying that Trump issued the work permit, and then clarification came out and said no, he had been denied under Trump in 20, but then Biden gave it to him later the next year or so, or not Biden himself, of course, but under that administration. So this is going to be a political hot potato in football, unfortunately.
Well, that's the problem. I mean, it's an unfortunate situation. It's awful. I know plenty of Americans who make horrible mistakes on the road. I just don't think it's overly, it's something to look at and, let's look at the facts of the case, but it's something just to generalize and make it that political football. That kind of gets a little, I guess, nerve-wracking for me, or troublesome, just because we're going to generalize everybody.
I like how you said, though, responsible immigration should hopefully address, it's not going to address everything, but
no,
hopefully
it's
address
not.
a lot of this.
We have laws now and Americans break them all the time.
Of course.
I mean, what are we trying to get at here? It's only because Gavin Newsom's been trolling the president and they're trying to come after the governor of California any way they can.
I did want to talk about that, so we'll do that when we come back, and your phone call right after this.
KSYL.
Storms, tornadoes, power outages. It's the season, so get prepared. Get storm ready with Southern Air. Get a free estimate on a generator. The right generator for your home and family, plus 0% financing for 60 months with approved credit. Let Southern Air help you take the worry out of hurricane season. Take action now. Visit southernairnow.com and let us bear it. Or give us a call at 318-777-5555. Keep the lights on with Southern Air.
If you happen to live in or visit New York, LA, Miami, or London, I've got a way you can dine at expensive restaurants, work out in pricey gyms, or get your hair styled at chic salons, all for free. Oh, wait, there's a catch. You have to be hot. From America's #1 travel radio show, this is your Arm World Travel Minute. I'm Rudy Maxa. Hot in this case means really good looking. It helps if you're a model or someone who has a lot of followers on social media platforms where you post items and photos on travel, food, drink, or other lifestyle topics. If this sounds like you, download an app called Neon Coat. The app links hot women and men with businesses who think good-looking people or influential influencers can help their businesses. Restaurants, nightclubs, salons, gyms, even dentists and bakeries pay a monthly fee to Neon Coat to send folks their way. You have to qualify through the app. Models must have at least 1,000 followers on Instagram. Other influencers like travel writers, for example, should have at least 5,000 followers. No, I'm not on Neon Coat, but maybe you should be. More travel info at armworldtravel.com.
Talkback 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL.
Well, good morning and welcome back to Talkback on this Tuesday, a terrific Tuesday on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan. We were chatting a little bit about Gavin Newsom, and I'm going to tell you, it's really funny, not fun, I guess funny. Gavin Newsom has been channeling his inner Donald Trump in his tweets. He's doing them in all caps. He's signing his full name with his middle initial. He's, thank you for your attention to this matter. And I find it really interesting. I'd like to hear your thoughts. But before we go to your thoughts, Stephen, let's go back to the phone line. Good morning. You're on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan.
Yeah, just a quick question. I mean, this is easily passed over all the time, but how do non-American citizens that do not already have a regular license get a CDL? And even if they don't have a CDL, how are they getting a regular license? I can't go into France right now, even with a passport, and get a license. And I know that because I've tried. When you not illegally, but when you're there trying to rent a car for different things. How is that happening? You can't just walk into the DMV over here by the Coliseum and randomly get a CDL. And I just didn't know if maybe y'all knew the answer to that, and I'll hang up to listen.
I don't know the answer to that. I think that's an excellent question.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to know more facts about the case with this incident over in Florida. How he got it. Was it just give it to him? Did he take a test? I mean, we've seen the video of him making that turn. It's just a horrible decision, and yeah, that's a good question. I'd love to know more. I'm not really familiar with CDLs in California.
One of the podcasts I listened to in prep this morning talked about how California has a law that actually allows illegals to get CDLs. I don't know if that's true. That's what the speaker of the podcast said.
I'm assuming the basis of that would be to make sure they have some sort of employment, and they probably have a shortage of truck drivers, if I had to guess. But I'm not going to assume, so I'll look it up here in a second.
I do hear that there is certainly a shortage. I lived in Mexico for several years, and I had to follow strict rules. I had to get visas. I was told many, many times I was not allowed to work, and I followed very carefully that. Even as a missionary living there, I would not accept offerings from the church down there or the people down there because I wanted to make sure I had no income from Mexico. I was concerned with making sure I did it right. That doesn't mean that, I'm not holding it. I'm just saying that every country does have rules, and if I were to violate those rules, like typically the way I lived, I had a 6-month visa, and I had to leave the country every 6 months. So you either come back up to Texas, which is about 1,000 miles away, or I would drive to Guatemala, which is about 150, 200 miles away. And, either way, you had to leave the country 24 hours, get a new visa when you came back in. I was applying for a long-term visa when we ended up moving back to the States, but there is a way to get a visa as a permanent immigrant. And I was applying for that, and it's a long, lengthy process. And so I know every country has those processes in place. The problem, I may not be popular with this, but I do think in some ways we kind of turned our eye and winked at the illegal immigration for workers for 50 to 100 years, especially on the West Coast. We wanted folks to pick the strawberries and the apples and the fields. And so we kind of were like, hey, we'll give you a pass. Well, that has expanded over time. They do have a farm worker visa process. I know many of our friends in Forest Hill are using that for their nursery workers. They're bringing in trusted people who get vetted and go through that process. But there was also that little wink and a nod. And when you wink and a nod on small things, it ends up being on big things, which I think we have the consequences right now.
I mean, it's just the generalization, and we can look at how rigorous California's CDL program is. I mean, that's obviously something we can look at, but lumping a whole group of people into one incident is irresponsible, in my opinion. I think that's just like you getting a CDL, you getting in Iraq and killing a family as an American citizen, and then we just, you took the test, you passed it with the state requirements, and then you blame the company as at fault for hiring you in the first place. Like, no, you went through everything you were supposed to. Accidents happen or people make mistakes. We don't generalize a whole group of people into it.
That would be important to understand what that process is, as you said. I did have a CDL for several years. I had the bus passenger endorsement to be able to drive a school bus.
It was hard, wasn't it?
It was not an easy test to pass in Louisiana. Parallel park a school bus, and you'll know what I'm talking about.
I could imagine.
It's a lot of fun. Thankfully,
that would be the most stressful job for me. Is driving those big trucks around town
with all those kids on board screaming and hollering.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that also leads to another conversation we could have about school riders and backing up. So everybody be careful this morning going to school because the school zones are full. We'll take our final break of the hour, back with the final segment right after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
Starting a business can be overwhelming, especially when you do it alone. Don't do it alone. Take control of your future with a Janney King Gulf Coast franchise. With Janney King, you get guaranteed initial growth, reliable operational support, and ongoing education to set you up for success. Janney King has built a proven system that gives you the tools to take control of your future confidently and with the support you need to thrive. The future is yours. Today at JannyKingCleans.com.
Janney King, the king of clean. Summertime in Cenla is here. Keep the fun sizzling while staying cool. Bounce into excitement at our indoor trampoline park and play centers. Cool off at local area arcades. Or immerse yourself in creativity at downtown art and children's museums. Beat the heat and savor the flavors at our local restaurants. Your taste buds will thank you. Strike up some fun. Hit the lanes for some cool bowling adventure. Want more cool ideas? Visit explorealexandriapineville.com. 2 cities, 1 epic summer.
All of us have that one friend who can just light up the room with a smile. And sadly, how many of us are just a little bit envious of that friend? Well, here's the good news. The folks over at Today's Dental in Pineville can deliver that beautiful beaming smile. Over the years, hundreds of hopeful patients have visited and been completely satisfied. They've made getting dental implants an amazingly simple, low-anxiety procedure, one that's affordable for anyone's budget. The staff at Today's Dental go out of their way to make you feel comfortable with calming in-office IV sedation that's administered by a highly skilled, certified nurse anesthetist. And their multiple finance options make the entire procedure truly affordable. Isn't it your turn to light up that room? Give Today's Dental a call at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Gauthier. That's 448-4540.
Is your website accessible to everyone? If it's not WCAG compliant, you could be excluding customers and opening yourself up to lawsuits. At Kinetics, we build and optimize websites that meet WCAG accessibility standards, helping you serve more people, convert more customers, and stay compliant with ADA guidelines. Don't risk it. Get your free website accessibility assessment today at kinetics.solutions. That's kinetics.solutions. Kinetics, where smart marketing works.
Attention all real estate agents, property owners, and lenders. When you or a client needs a real estate attorney, call the professionals at Thompson Law Firm. Whether the legal matter is basic or complex, the Thompson Law Firm can accurately guide you or your client to a successful outcome. That's why numerous industry professionals have trusted the Thompson Law Firm for years. They also handle estate planning, successions, and business law. Call them at 473-0052. I am a paid non-client attorney spokesperson.
Now there's a new way to take charge of your blood sugar. Introducing New Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula from the makers of the nation's best-selling garlic supplement. New Garlic helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels with clinically supported levels of garlic, plus a custom blend of vitamins and minerals. And it's odor-free. Take charge of your blood sugar with New Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
Big year. I'm starting middle school.
Welcome to the jungle, Missy.
Best part? My parents promised me a new laptop.
Perfect for homework, essays, and drudgery.
So we went to Staples. They had all the latest tech, and laptops were up to 40% off.
Woo! Another back-to-school budget saved by Staples Easy Button.
Mom high-fived the cashier. So embarrassing.
Staples.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app. In Z23 of select models only.
Talk back. To take part of the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK.
Welcome back to Talk Back on this wonderful Tuesday morning. As I want to remind everybody with a little traffic advisory, if you're northbound on the Pineville Expressway, be advised that the left lane will be closed between Donahue Ferry Overpass and the 165 Exchange, as DOTD is doing some necessary maintenance work and some drainage work in that area. So if you're northbound, which really is good that they're doing it in the morning, because most of the traffic on the expressway is probably southbound, people heading to work. But those of you who are headed northbound, just be aware of the lane shift there and the left lane being closed going north.
Yeah, you're talking about Gavin Newsom's tweets that we've been seeing from his press office. I mean, obviously copying President Trump style.
Yeah, right.
Obviously satire. He's trying to make a point there. I heard from some Fox News commentators that he needs to essentially grow up. His wife needs to stop him. But I wonder why they're saying that for the governor instead of the president, too, who's been doing it for years. What's the difference? But it's just obviously satire. Speaking of, like, decisions have consequences, if you look at some of the January 6th people who were originally charged and then pardoned, there were multiple that have been rearrested for other charges. So, you know, you put some of those people back on the streets, they go back and commit other crimes, including soliciting a minor.
Oh, wow.
Going after the FBI agents who investigated them. In that case, threatening them. Drunk driving incident. So there's several instances where decisions have consequences, and that's absolutely true.
Yeah, that January 6th thing is a whole rigmarole in the sense that I think you have some very good people who got caught up in a bad issue. And I think you have some bad actors as well who took advantage and should have been arrested. Yeah. That's why I don't think a blanket pardon is necessarily the right way to go. But I also think it was a very heavy-handed response to it. So it
was a blanket pardon, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know.
Going back to Gavin Newsom, I this is my question for you. They're talking about redistricting over the next 3 years and possibly picking up 5 seats in answer to the Texas's approach to pick up 5 seats. But I'm trying to remember. I looked it up earlier. I don't know if I still have the tab open, but. California has like 43 or 44 House seats.
That was in the 50s, but you might be right.
Well, maybe it's 40-something are Democrat and 9 are Republican. Maybe that's what the number is.
Could be.
And so if they're going to pick up 5, that means they'll be down to 4 Republican seats, and it would be 43 plus 5, 48. So that, yeah, they're in the 50s. You're right. Can you? But when I look at the breakdown of voters, it's 45% Democrat, 25% Republican, and 22% no party. And so if you give, you only have 4 that are Republican and 48 are Democrat, that's not an equal representation.
No,
I guess my point is, I don't mean it's equal. What I mean is, I don't think it's going to work out the way they think.
Well, I think it's obviously in response to President Trump's influence on what Texas is doing, so he doesn't lose the majority in the House. I mean, that's completely obvious.
Mm-hmm.
It does. I mean, there is precedence of redistricting mid way through the decades census.
Mm-hmm.
It happened a lot in the 1800s. I know Texas tried this in the early 2000s. It was partially kept in place. But kept in place, you can still do political gerrymandering. However, you can't do it basically on racial lines.
Which is going to end up causing Louisiana to probably have its thrown out. But historically, in the last 50 years, the Democrats have taken more advantage of this than Republicans in the states that I've looked at.
Of gerrymandering or redistricting?
Of gerrymandering for advantage of number of seats.
Yeah, gerrymandering happens on both sides.
Of course.
It's quite common.
Of course.
But redistricting is very unusual, at least the past 100 years, when it comes to a state deciding to do it itself. But if you can legally do it, you can legally do it.
Right.
So it's obvious the president is having an influence because he wants his party to stay in power.
Right.
California is responding the same way.
I just don't think it's going to work out for California because they're trying to. I think they're going to spread their voters too thin. They're not going to pick up as many seats as they think. I think there are more conservative voters, especially in Northern California. And even there are a resurgence in Southern California. And then the question then becomes, do they pick up as many as they think? I don't know if Texas will either. You don't know until the vote happens.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Carl, we're not able to get to you. I hate that. We have Matt Ritchie coming up in the next hour. We look forward to hearing his Central Louisiana economic updates. So stick around for Matt Ritchie in hour number 2. We'll be right back for that.
You've been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenla Broadcasting.
AM 970, FM 104.9, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3, HD3, Alexandria.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump is waiting to see what happens next after his summit with Vladimir Putin and yesterday's White House meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky and EU leaders at the White House.
I hope President Putin is going to be good. And if he's not, it's going to be a rough situation. And I hope that President Zelensky will do what he has to do. He has to show some flexibility also.
The president on Fox today, correspondent Holly Williams, has been speaking with people in Kyiv.
If Zelensky makes territorial concessions as part of a ceasefire deal, permanently giving parts of Ukraine to Russia, some here will see it as weak or foolish. Too many people have suffered and died, said this woman in Kyiv. Did they die for nothing and will give away land?
New hope for Air Canada passengers like Andrew Dixon, who've been stuck at airports across the U.S. since flight attendants went on strike Saturday.
I'm trying to get back home to London. Hopefully I'm going to get back, but we'll see, I guess.
The union says it's reached a tentative contract agreement, and the airline says it'll begin resuming flights tonight. Air Canada says it could take 10 days to get all service up and running again. One of the main issues resolved, paying flight attendants for work they perform while planes are on the ground. Oklahoma has a new plan to test applicants from 2 other states for teaching jobs.
Oklahoma Public School Superintendent Ryan Walters says the test is designed to safeguard against what he calls radical leftist ideology. Applicants from New York and California will have to take the test. Walters says it will make sure they understand American exceptionalism and grasp the fundamental biological differences between boys and girls. Critics call it a MAGA loyalty test that will scare away applicants as Oklahoma faces a severe shortage of teachers. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Locals feared the worst when a cargo ship caught fire last night near the scene of last year's Key Bridge collapse in Baltimore Harbor.
We heard a really loud explosion. We turn around, and there's like a 200-foot plume of smoke.
City fire officials say all 23 people on board the W. Sapphire are accounted for, none injured. The cause of the blast is under investigation. A new warning about the latest toy craze, those fuzzy little Labubu dolls. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says some of the fakes flooding the market can easily break apart and pose a choking hazard to little kids. CBS's Kelly O'Grady.
Real Labubus, they feature a holographic sticker with a scannable QR code that links to the Pop Mart website. Also count the teeth. Authentic ones have 9.
Dow futures are up 101. S&P futures down 2. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Get renter's insurance to protect the things that make your place a home, including coverage for theft or damage. Visit Progressive.com.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
I'm Matt Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Your car steering wheel could be a ticking time bomb. At least 24 people have died and many more injured because their airbags fired shrapnel at them upon inflating. Tens of millions of cars have been recalled. If you suffered cuts that required stitches, hearing or vision loss, or broken bones, please contact us today. You could be owed money for medical bills and other damages.
Morgan & Morgan. Visit us at badairbags.com for an office near you. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Colleen Crane. Reaction continues to pour in on the indictment of New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell. She's accused in an 18-count federal indictment of bilking the city out of $70,000 for a trip she took with former NOPD officer Jeffrey Vappy under the guise of security, when prosecutors allege the two were covering up a romantic relationship. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser says Cantrell pressed her luck a little too far.
I don't wish evil on anyone, but you thumb your nose at the law and at the people you represent long enough, and it's going to catch up with you.
About 135 Louisiana National Guard soldiers are heading to Washington, D.C. Lieutenant Colonel Noel Collins says President Trump requested the help of the Guard to restore order in the nation's capital.
We were asked to respond and support the D.C. National Guard, and that's what the Louisiana National Guard is doing.
She says their mission is to restore safety and peace in the nation's capital. They'll be in D.C. through at least September 30th. LRN.
Craving mouth-watering barbecue and juicy steaks? Head on over to Cole's Barbecue and Steakhouse, the top barbecue and steakhouse in Alexandria. Our warm and welcoming atmosphere is the perfect setting for a night out with friends or a family dinner. Indulge in our premium barbecue and steaks, fresh salads, and handcrafted burgers. Come as you are, we're ready to serve you. Visit Cole's Barbecue and Steakhouse today on Coliseum Boulevard across from the Rapides Parish Coliseum. Expect real good food.
Good morning. Another sunny, very hot day. This afternoon, highs get near 97 degrees. The heat index could go as high as 110 this afternoon, and little if any breeze at all. What we will see will be out of the east. Tonight, clear skies down to 75, and then for Wednesday, another sunny, very hot day. About a 40% chance of some afternoon showers and thunderstorms in the forecast for us on Wednesday. From the Zenlaw Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 27 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
It's the hour you've been waiting for, the Power Hour with Matt Ritchie, Central Louisiana Economic Update. Matt, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Nathan. Happy anniversary.
Well,
I heard the show earlier this morning. I like to listen before I come in, and happy anniversary to you.
Well, my wife will be very touched that you sent us that anniversary reading. Thank you.
Well, I've I've been over next door too, by the way.
I've been seeing y'all.
Over the last week or so, and we're about to get that property on the market.
Really?
So yeah, we're about to get it done. We're trying to get fresh coat of paint and fence, and I'll get everything tightened up, and so we'll be.
Go ahead and tell them to cut those, trim those bushes over there. I know they're on my side of the line, but while they're there, no, I'm just kidding.
We'll take care of that. We'll take care of that. Some of that. Stephen, good to see you.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here.
You're all geared up for your
the show.
after the show job you got after this, right? You're gonna be heading south.
I'm going to Bunkie today.
There you go.
Yep. Lots of
good
stuff
place
in
to eat,
Bunkie. That's what I'm doing. We're going to Griffin's and Bernice's.
Oh wow!
So 2 great spots.
Oh, that's all. No, that's great. I've owned one property in Bunkie, and I bought the old Winn-Dixie store in 2007. Yeah. It was a unique story where they built that in like around 99, 2000. It was a 50,000 square foot store in Bunkie, which Bunkie's not a very big market. And so what happened was they overbuilt the market. That they built that there just wasn't enough customers to support that many groceries that they were selling and all the product. It was a 50,000 square foot store. I'll put in perspective, the Super One food stores range anywhere in the 60,000 plus range. And you see how much business they do in Alexandria and Pineville. And so think about a store doing that kind of volume in Bunkie. And so it just didn't make, and they ended up closing it, put it up for auction. Had 2 auctions, no bidders. I ended up calling on the sign and I ended up making a deal with them. And I thought I had just really won the lottery for what I paid for it. But I had a 50,000 square foot grocery store in Bunkie, Louisiana. And I spent like 5 years trying to figure out what to do with it and paying taxes and insurance. And I ended up selling it to the Archdiocese of New Orleans.
Oh, cool.
As a hurricane shelter site. They operate 3 nursing homes in the New Orleans market.
Yeah.
And it was, we'd just come out of Katrina and then Ida. I'm trying to think of the names of we had back-to-back hurricanes for 2-3 years there. They were spending a fortune. They were spending millions of dollars just evacuating those nursing homes. So they said, you know what, let's find a site just outside of the hurricane zone. That building fit the bill for them, and it just worked out for both of us.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was
I bet you were relieved.
I was very relieved.
You never know what kind of calls you get. So.
Yeah, because you never know, because you have 50,000 feet of building, then you have 5 acres of parking lot. Then you have a roof up there that when there's hailstorms and big storms you're worried about, and you got an empty building there. So anyway, that's the luxury and the privilege and responsibility of owning real estate.
When you have a big building like that, is it reasonable to think you could split it up? Is that stupid?
No, I tried to do that, but the reality though is what the cost to demise a space like that, because a lot of times you have to go in and do, obviously you have to put in a new firewall, which may create some fire suppression sprinkler system issues. You may have to put in a new system for that space. Then you got to bring in a new electrical service. Then you got to bring in plumbing. And so when you start separating services and you start separating all those things, it gets pretty expensive.
You might can do it once or twice, but not a bunch of 30-foot wide, 200 feet deep.
Well, and especially in a market where you're not going to get super high rents.
Right.
And that was the problem.
If you would have waited like 10 years when the churches were all going into like grocery stores and theaters, maybe you could have gotten that too.
That's right.
Maybe so. That's happening. Shreveport has a church that's taken over Broadmoor or whatever that has the big mall there on the loop.
Broadmoor is off Broadmoor. They have the it's like a Life something.
Okay.
That's on that old mall there.
Yeah.
They own that whole thing.
Well, if you think about big, churches, they need, a lot of shopping centers they actually exclude churches as exclusions. Like you can't rent to like Kmart. I can't rent Kmart in Pineville to a church.
Really?
Because Super One, when they moved in there, they put it in their covenants that says we don't want a church, we don't want a gym, we don't want all these different uses because they're heavy parking. They don't want to take up parking spaces for their potential customers.
Okay.
Even though Super One's all the way on the other end, nobody's going to park down there to go to Super One.
No, but schools, churches are normal big box exclusions and leases, and so when you start seeing some of those big boxes, and that's when you start seeing churches and schools move into those buildings once those original retail tenants are gone, and you're considered to be a class C or class D shopping center or building, whatnot. But we got a lot of good stuff to talk about. I know we kind of got into that. I know you heard us talking about state treasurer. I had a good visit with Treasurer Fleming yesterday. Had never really sat down and visited with him. Visited for about an hour or so, and then just had a really good understand his background and talking about some things going on in the state. And so had a real good visit with him. And then another thing I heard you talk about, I want to go ahead and mention that. You're talking about deposits. You're talking about getting deposits back. We're in the property management business, and we own. We obviously own, we own and we manage rental property here in Rapides at Parish, and so when if you have a landlord or if you have a property owner who's they're supposed to put that deposit into a trust account. Some landlords who don't do that, they just put that deposit in their pocket, and most likely you'll never see that deposit again. But that's the difference. You rent from a property management company. We're required by law to actually hold that deposit in a trust account. And when I tell anybody that rents from us, I want to give you this, like when they hand that check, I want to give this back to you. My whole goal is whenever you meet the terms of this lease that we just agreed to, give me the property back just like you found it, minus a little wear and tear, and I'll give you this whole check back. That's what we want to do. So we hold all our deposits, and most property management companies do that. They're supposed to anyway. And so I hate that you've had that experience, Stephen. That's why I was going to ask you. You said you haven't gotten your deposit back.
Oh, I probably deserved it.
Okay. I thought you said, well, I didn't do any damage, and I still didn't get my money back.
The last one in Shreveport, we kept that place immaculate. It wasn't even nice when we moved in, and we cleaned the heck out of it. Like we did everything. The hardest I've worked to make sure a property looked good after I left, and they still dinged us for like the dumbest stuff. Like we deep cleaned the stove. Like, well, there's like a smudge there, and it was a $100 deposit, so it wasn't a big deal.
Sure.
But we were just happy we didn't owe money.
Yeah, right. Well, so obviously, anybody out there have any questions about that? If you're a landlord out there and you're unsure about how to handle those kind of things, you always feel free to call us at the office at 449-8919. Happy to help with that and just help educate that.
And I think you were saying that because y'all must, I'm not going to say frequently, but from time to time have to put money back to the treasurer. I'm assuming if somebody doesn't collect their deposit. Is that what the process is?
Well, so we typically mail it to them. We get their forwarding address, and then what we do is we've never personally sent anything to the treasury.
Oh, okay, haven't had to,
but because we always get two addresses, if we don't get their forwarding address, we get a relative's address, like in case of emergency, somebody who a parent or a mother or daughters, a family member or somebody they trust. If we can't get a hold of them, we have their name and address, and we'll send it to them that way. If they just up and leave, they're not getting it back because they broke their lease. So, but it's very, very rare that that someone does not follow the terms of the lease, do everything they're supposed to do, and us return their deposit back, and the transaction just happens, and when we can't, it's not like that it's rare that we can't find someone. I can count in 28 years I've been doing this, maybe on one hand. I can't even fill up one hand on fingers how many times that's happened. So anyway, we got a lot of deals to talk about. We've got the transaction volume we're going to be reporting on August 1st through August 15th. That is the time period we're going to be reporting on. And we had a little over $13 million in volume during that time period, which compared to the last month of the last 2 weeks of July was it was a little bit better than that. That was around $11 million. And so we did, we had a little uptake, and that's not super common because normally you've got more volume going in June and July, closing in those time periods, and not in August. But I think it's just a trend of people there's still folks just kind of teeter-tottering because they don't know what to do. So then, am I going to wait for interest rates to drop, or what do I do? And Stephen, you and I have talked about this.
Oh, yeah.
And we get tons of calls and inquiries about what to do. And if I had the magic question, if I had the magic answer, I wouldn't be probably sitting here if I had that. But I will tell you this, that it really just depends on your family situation, your job situation, your financial. Everybody has a different financial situation. So some folks save more than others. Some folks live paycheck to paycheck, and it just really just depends. And I would just suggest anybody looking to go take out a mortgage right now at today's interest rate, go spend some preliminary time. With even the mortgage broker that you're dealing with, or a financial advisor, or even a banker, or someone that you trust that may have some financial experience, to understand is this a good time, and really study and discern whether this is a good time to do this or not. Because rates will. If you can afford it, we're seeing commercial and business deals close. Pretty at a regular pace, because if they can pencil out a deal, even at 7.5% interest rates, which is where they're at in the commercial world right now, if that can pencil out, we're seeing deals close. We're going to have some of our top years here, this year from commercial activity, just because those deals aren't slowing down. Because if it pencils out, it's just great, because when rates, most commercial loans have a balloon. A residential mortgage might have a 30-year, a 15, 20, 25, 30-year term fixed rate, where most commercial loans have generally a 5 to 7, possibly a 10%, or the 10-year term to them. And so you have to refinance those more often. So a lot of those, all those loans, which actually were made 5 years ago when rates were 3.5% to 4% on the commercial deals, those things are ballooning right now. And so that's a whole another trend in the world of commercial real estate, where you're starting to see some of those folks just the opposite, where they penciled out then, but they don't pencil out at 7%. And so you're going to start seeing you'll probably start seeing some distressed commercial sales because of that. Because the deal may have just barely kind of eked by, kind of barely worked, and they just did it when the rates were 4%. But now they're refinancing and they're 8% or 7.5%, and it just doesn't work. The cash flow's not there.
I'm saying the 15-year is almost a percentage lower. It's dipped below 6, which I don't know if there's a psychological thing about being in the 5s that helps anything or not. But I also don't know how many do a 15 versus a 30.
That is absolutely a psychological. I mean, our industry experts are telling us that once we see rates start getting into the 5s, we're going to start seeing an uptick in activity.
All right. Well, that's the great information from Matt Ritchie. We'll be back with more of his economic update right after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics, with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
Louisiana forests once fueled our economy. Your granddad logged these woods. So did your dad. And now, Beaver Lake Renewable Energy is keeping that legacy alive, turning thinnings and wood byproducts into clean fuel right here in Pineville. It means more jobs, stronger forests, and a future that honors where Central Louisiana came from. Be part of Louisiana's next chapter. Visit BeaverLakeRenewable.com and find out how we're putting Central Louisiana back on the map.
Got a big day ahead of you? Then it's best to fuel up with some of St-Law's best at Bricato's Restaurant. Walk right in and just smell that home-style cooking. Place your order, take a seat, and do breakfast right till 9:30 this morning. Get fresh biscuits, eggs any way you like them, melt-in-your-mouth pancakes, grits, hash browns, sausage, bacon, even wraps and sandwiches. And don't forget their fresh brewed coffee. Bricato's Restaurant, 28 West, right across from the Coliseum. Your breakfast is waiting for you.
A message from Israel Air Conditioning and Heating.
Yeah, my mama, she told me to pick up and call Israel Air.
She told me Israel Air.
She told me. She said they'll come running with comfort beyond compare.
At a very fair price.
Because you know we're all about your comfort, got your comfort, no troubles. Call 442-6657. That's 442-6657. We're all about your comfort, got your comfort.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BON Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BON Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. Talk back.
Welcome back to Talk Back on Tuesday. Matt Ritchie, the Central Louisiana Economic Update, is on the air right now. Your phone calls welcome at 318-442-8255. We're just a few days away from that 318 being mandatory. I'm sure you guys know that, but August 25th, I believe, is the cutoff date. You must dial 318 as of next Monday. So we've been saying it for a while. Call that 318.
Well, and there's so many people that live here, and they brought their number when they imported their number. They didn't care. They just carried it with them.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so you see these odd 720s and 967s, and who these folks, and then they're local. They've been living here for a few years. You just never know. Transactions. Let's talk about a few transactions that we've had, and then we're going to get into some opportunities, some properties that are on the market that I think might be interesting to our listeners. I will tell you that D.R. Horton's been hot. They usually sell 1 to 2 properties every 2 weeks. They sold 4 properties in the first 2 weeks of August. And I think we're seeing they're real close to selling out that neighborhood. I have not. I actually drove in there all the way through the neighborhood, which is Old Town off Bayou Rapides. That's the first D.R. Horton subdivision that was built in Alexandria, and it's had some controversy about quality of construction, and we've had some neighboring cities the developers want to go there, and some neighboring cities saying, no, you know what, thanks, but no thanks. And
there's some cities saying welcome with open arms.
Yeah, they are.
Woodworth just approved D.R. Horton.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it's the mindset of the leadership in each municipality.
But I think Mayor Butler will probably keep a close eye on that construction.
Well, and that's
He's well known for that.
But that's what you would do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
exactly.
if you think that there's an issue, you've got a company that builds 100,000 houses a year, and they've been doing it for years. So they've built millions and millions of homes, you don't have folks. I drove through the neighborhood the other day because it's almost pretty much all built out, and I was looking at everything, and when I look at a building, whether it's a home, whether residential or commercial, I get real picky. I look at the quality of how much vinyl siding they're using, how much brick they're using, what type of materials they're using, how close the buildings are to one another, how deep are and wide are the driveways, how big are the garages. I mean, I pick all that stuff apart. I mean, if I walk in it, if there's a crack in the crown molding, I'm gonna point it out. I don't know why that I'd look at those type of things. So I didn't see the houses. I didn't go in any of them, but
right from the street, the appeal is nice.
They don't look like bad houses, and like I've said time and time again, they're filling a need that no one else is filling in our market. There's no if you think about it, there's 133 homes in that neighborhood. I think 130 lots. And they're ranging anywhere between, and they've sold between 225 to up to like 320 is some of the bigger ones. If that's 130 families that would not have a new home in our market right now, if those folks had not come in and built that.
Yeah, so nobody's specking houses right now.
There are no builders specking houses in that price range. They're not. And the reason is because there's not a ton of profit at that price point. They got to do volume, and that's where a company like D.R. Horton or DSLD. I'm throwing out some other names because there are several large home builders, national home builders. Lanier is another one. Matter of fact, we have a local former Pineville Rebel. Herman Rando actually works for Lanier. They're large. He lives in Dallas. I caught up with Herman on the plane a while back, and he was telling me all about it. And they're one of D.R. Horton's biggest competitors. So I said, "What's it going to take to get y'all here?" He said, "Well, I didn't realize D.R. Horton was in Central Louisiana, but now that I know they are," he said, we tend to follow them.
Burger King and Walmart.
Because they see opportunity and they see markets, and so.
Interesting, I was noticing D.R. Horton has their own mortgage arm, DHI Mortgage, and I'm looking right now. They don't publish them, but the data is available. They're offering 30-year fixed at 5.92.
That's how they're selling them. That's how they're selling them right there.
FHA at 5.76 and VA at 5.17.
They're offering
3.5 down.
Very competitive financing. Wow. They're offering very competitive finance, and that is how they sell them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's no hiding that fact, but yeah.
That's almost a percentage point below.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
If not more.
But if you're a local municipality and you want housing and you want a tax base,
mm-hmm.
you want people living in your community who are buying gas because they're pulling out of their house and they want to stop and get some coffee or a donut or whatever, a biscuit, and they want to, and they when they come home they need to shop and then they get some, some household goods or groceries, and you want that, and you want those tax dollars, you want that business in your city, and if you think that you got a project that where someone's going to come build 75, 80, 100 houses. Just watch the construction. Just do a better job of making sure they build a better quality. Don't say, "Oh, I don't want that."
Yeah. We did. I will say in Pineville, they approached us about around Ocho Rios, and as the leadership discussed it, we didn't feel like it was a good fit there because you already have 100 homes in there that have been built based on the promise of a certain plat that's there, and then if you come back later and you redraw those lines and you put these smaller postage stamp houses on the front end, we feel like it would be a violation of trust of the people who are invested.
I don't disagree on an existing development right that way, especially, I'm right there with you because I do believe that, because what happens is when you start doing appraisals and comps and you start going, okay, well, you got this style of house, this size and everything else, and you got this. There's some potential impact, and so I wouldn't be advocating to go into an existing neighborhood and just because some extra land right there. But if it's just a raw piece of dirt, brand new development, mm-hmm. And then you've got developers want to come spend millions of dollars to build houses in a market that no one else is filling in our area, what are we doing?
Well, and there is a market for small lots. Houses close together. There is a market for that high density quality housing. And I like you, when the first time I drove through Old Town, I thought, this is not as bad as I'm hearing people talk about. It really looks very nice. If they do add their little playgrounds and the sidewalks and those amenities, it's not a bad product. But I think Mayor Butler's going to be on top of the quality.
Oh, there is absolutely no doubt that Mayor Butler's going to be on top of that. He's going to be out there every day making sure that those footings on every house are dug right. I mean, he's which is why Woodworth looks the way it does. I mean, he's out there paying attention, and so and we have some great mayors in our area, and Mayor Butler is top of the list when it comes to making sure his town's where he's at, and we've got other deals to talk about when we come back from the break.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. All salaried employees at Starbucks in North America will be getting 2% raises this year. That across-the-board decision is a change from previous wage hikes that were decided by individual managers. It's part of a turnaround effort that includes investments in better service, shorter wait times, and more inviting Starbucks stores. Starbucks is working to reverse a sales slump that stretched across 6 quarters. The strike by Air Canada flight attendants has ended. The union set a tentative agreement agreement is in place, ending a walkout that canceled hundreds of flights since Saturday. The strike over pay and conditions like compensation during boarding disrupted travel across Canada. The union said the agreement was reached during a mediated negotiating session that lasted more than 9 hours. Home Depot shares have turned higher in pre-market trading, even though the latest numbers suggest shoppers are shying away from big purchases. Stock futures have been fluctuating in a narrow range this morning. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
You too could have a beautiful smile in as little as 12 weeks. Exclusive to Today's Dental in Pineville, Virtual Align Clear Aligners. The fastest, most convenient, affordable way to straighten your teeth for people on the go. Plus, they're invisible. No one will know you're doing it. Experience the Virtual Align difference. Call Today's Dental at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Goche. 448-4540.
Put some fun in your future with Pleasure Pools. Right now, get a 16 by 32 in-ground pool for just $39,995. Financing available. Pleasure Pools has been building top-quality fiberglass, gunite, and vinyl pools across Louisiana and East Texas for over 30 years. Want more? Add a spa, waterfall, or custom feature, and we've got you covered for maintenance and remodeling too. Call 318-357-9000 or visit pleasurepoolsinc.com.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-306-6633. 800-306-6633. That's 800-306-6633.
You've seen RoofMax on TV, but what you really want to know is, can it help you avoid an expensive roof replacement? In most cases, yes, because 9 out of 10 roofs can be restored by RoofMax at a fraction of the cost of a new roof. But RoofMax treatments aren't just for old roofs. Your roof starts to deteriorate in as little as 7 years. Your roof is thirsty. Start RoofMax treatment soon enough, and you can extend the life of your roof up to 15 years. Call 1-855-RoofMax, 855-RoofMax.
Well, good morning. Another sunny, very hot day. This afternoon, highs get near 97 degrees. The heat index could go as high as 110 this afternoon, and little, if any, breeze at all. What we will see will be out of the east. Tonight, clear skies down to 75, and then for Wednesday, another sunny, very hot day. About a 40% chance of some afternoon showers and thunderstorms in the forecast for us on Wednesday. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian.
Now back to Talk Back, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
Well, we're having a great conversation so well there that we don't even want to go back on the air talking about development. Man, you've got all the secrets and all the good stuff, and Steve's got the great reporter questions. What's just
no, it just has nothing to do with what we're talking about, really. But every market that I've gone into as a news reporter, there's always been such a big emphasis on downtown development. And I'm thinking in my head, you know, just in my shallow non-real estate brain, that the free market says downtowns obviously aren't that important to consumers because they just keep dying. Why do we have such an emphasis on rebuilding it? And is there some sort of real estate reason why it might be beneficial now? I'm just curious.
Well, I think that's a multifaceted question, right? I think you can answer it a bunch of different ways, and I think you have to answer it a few different ways because one, it's generally the hub or area. It's usually the hub of the city government. A lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times. For our city government, if you take our Alexandria city government, we're downtown. So there's folks go in and out of there every day, and so when you already have that concentration of folks going there every day, those folks would like to eat. It may be somewhere different, a couple times a week. They'd like to have some other choices, consumer choices of things to be within walking distance. I think a lot of folks, and I go down. I go to our downtown a lot, and I sit there and think about what could be, And because it's, you park one spot and you could walk to a bunch of different places. And whether, I'm talking about whether it's eating establishments or businesses or shopping or whatever you're going to do. And if you think about from Rapides Parish standpoint, situated right in the middle between Alexandria and Pineville, it's really a central location for folks coming out of the north part of the parish and folks coming from the south part of the parish to actually, it's kind of a middle ground common place, and you've got downtown, you've got you got a historic factor to it. You got buildings that were built 100 years ago, and they have some history behind them. Now 100 years for our area is a long time, but it's not a long time. Yeah. Especially we just got when you go to Europe, you're looking at buildings that are 700 or 800, 1,000 years old. But for our area, 100-year-old buildings, 100 to 150-year-old buildings, an old building, and so there's that aspect of wanting to restore that history and put that back in commerce as well. So I think there's a variety of different things. If any callers have any ideas, I'd be happy to hear them out. But did you have a thought?
No, well, I think it's a great question because typically conservatives are saying let the free market rule. And when it comes to downtowns, it's taken an infusion of public dollars to make it come alive. So that seems counterintuitive to a free market society. But from a governmental perspective, I think the issue of blight, vagrancy, homelessness, decay, those things probably have as much to do with your psyche as they do with spreading throughout the rest of the community. So it's a pride factor. You want your downtown. You want to feel good about it. And so I think that investment there, you're hoping will generate other investment. And so that's why I can see governments investing in, again, more than anything else, probably getting rid of blight. Because the example I used a while ago, if you let a cobweb in one corner of your room, before you know it, those cobwebs have spread, and you stop dusting and you stop sweeping, and clothes are patrolling everywhere. But if you make sure you never let that first cobweb get there, you're going to be watching everything else too.
Well, there are not very many downtowns that I've been to across the country that don't have some type of issue. But what do you do? Do you just go in and demo all that and build new out in the suburbs or out in other areas? I mean, that's the big question. It's and I think you could talk about it for days and nights and years about with the right strategy. But
I love what I'm seeing in downtown Pineville, starting at the college with Hidden Grounds and Palmetto and Wayback Arcade and Harlow. Of course, Harlow's been there for a long time. And then coming back, and kudos to Jorge Rocha, who's been investing and redoing some of those older buildings. And he's doing that with no government money. He's 100% private investment. So championing those folks is really good. Mohammed is getting ready to open up 414 Main. It's going to be a new convenience store. They've got the equipment there, getting ready to put a gas station on Main Street. Okay. When's the last time we had a gas station on Main Street?
Was it Eddie's Exxon?
That's right. Probably Esso back then, right? But Bordelon Exxon or Eddie's Exxon. It's been a long time since anybody can get gas downtown.
What Jorge's doing is absolute great. I own a building right across the street from what he's doing. By the way, 700 Main Street. I'll go ahead and put a selfish plug in. 700 Main Street for anybody that knows it's for lease.
Oh, for lease.
If anybody needs a 4,400 square foot office building, used to be a bank. It's got a vault. It's got a drive-through. It's got almost as much parking as it's got one of the largest parking lots on Main Street. So if someone needs a lot of parking, it's priced at like $3,000 a month, which is a really low price for 4,400 square feet of office space.
And the best parking on Main Street, no doubt.
It really does. And so if anybody's out there needing something like that, call me 449-8919. That's 318-449-8919. And so we will we'll have that building available. And then we've got some other things to talk about and deals when we come back.
KSYL.
Imagine walking where land meets sea, where every step echoes centuries of stories. This is the Portuguese Coastal Camino de Santiago. From Porto's riverside charm to Galicia's wild coast, follow a path through fishing villages, ancient chapels, and windswept beaches. Walk the Camino. Feel the call. More than a journey, it's a transformation. Join our small group, escorted by Christine and Father Joy in May of 2026. FreedomTravelLLC.com, your international travel architects.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose. Visit us at lubawc.com to learn more.
These gems don't just glisten, they pay. Play Lucky Gems from the lottery. Win up to $4,000. Stop at your favorite lottery retailer and ask for Lucky Gems today. Keep it rolling straight to your wallet and play Money Rolls from the lottery. Win up to $15,000. Visit any lottery retailer and pick up Money Rolls today. Louisiana Lottery, giving you a reason to smile. Must be at least 21 to purchase.
Talk back. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK.
Welcome back to Talk Back on Tuesday. It's Matt Ritchie in with the Central Louisiana Economic Update. He's given us some tales of the town, things that are selling, things that are on the market. I have to ask you each week, each time you come in there, any new announcements coming in your properties?
We got some. We just can't.
Any you can talk about?
We're just not,
No Chick-fil-A yet.
We're just not there yet.
In Pineville.
What's that?
No Chick-fil-A in Pineville yet.
No Chick-fil-A in Pineville.
Oh, man.
I can't wait till the day we get Chick-fil-A in Pineville, but I don't see that. I'm looking forward to Freddy's opening up.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
I said Olive Garden was never coming. It's coming, so I will not say Chick-fil-A's not coming. It's going to come.
Nathan, I would have lost a bet if someone would have if someone would have bet me, because I've been saying it for years. They're not coming.
I said
they're not coming. I mean, because I've been talking to the broker that represents Darden Foods. That they have a whole slew of restaurant brands, and I've talked to him probably 3-4 times a year, and I always ask him, "What about Olive Garden?" "Oh, they're not coming," and he represents them. So that tide turned last year, and he said, "Yeah, we may be coming." And so,
you think it was tied with the imminent closure of Carino's? I mean, if they heard Carino's was leaving the market, that was going to leave a void. We still have Verona's, we have the Bellino's, but it's a national Italian chain, and they saw a vacancy, perhaps?
I think, but I'll tell you, another bet I would have lost was that they would not have repurposed that building.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the one. That's the head scratcher for me, for Olive Garden to say, you know what? We're finally, after all the emails and all the calls and all the folks for the last 20 years beating us up about bringing Olive Garden to Alexandria, Louisiana, they would have, when they decided to come, they would not have taken taken and repurposed the existing building, because the cost of construction is really, really high these days. It always is, but that wasn't a bad building. They could have repurposed it. Or B, looked for another location.
Go out 28 West.
Because it's going to cost the same amount of money to build that building where they're at, minus some of the concrete that they saved, and the lot that they paid for, versus going maybe to another location that could be, that I think I would not have put that there. But a lot of these retailers, when they come to town, they come to spots that are complete head scratchers, because Five Guys. Guys, yeah. I knew Five Guys probably wasn't going to make it right there, but they should have. If they would have been over, off MacArthur and Jackson, that whole area, I think they'd still be.
There's a lot of rooftops on Jackson.
There are.
Is it like a visibility issue you're thinking with where the Olive Garden's going to be, or?
No, it's concentrated. I mean, look, it helps that Outback's next door, and it helps that Walk-On's is right down the street. So you have that cluster. So think about if you and your wife or your family's going out to eat on a Friday night or Saturday night or whatever night, and one of them's busier, and you just say, you know what, I don't know if I'm going to wait 30 minutes. Looks like there's not a line next door. We may just go over there. So it's that whole Burger King, McDonald's, and where you have all those folks cluster. They cluster for a reason. And they cluster to generate some synergy.
That's why we need another steakhouse close to Texas Roadhouse, so you don't have an hour and a half wait. Because they got a long wait at Texas Roadhouse.
I haven't been to Texas Roadhouse since I've been back because of that reason. It's just slam packed.
I believe they are absolutely a contributing factor to the success of Mi Tierra. Because
Great
if you
point.
think about
Great point.
the fact that there's folks that aren't going to wait.
We've done it. My wife and I have done that.
Same.
Yeah.
I mean, and me too. Don't get me wrong. They serve fabulous food. They're great food. I mean, but they're sometimes just not thought about. But the fact that they're right there, and when folks don't want to wait 45 minutes in line for Texas Roadhouse. So
I miss the Hastings there. That's where I'd go when I was
Really?
waiting for Texas Roadhouse. I'm a big fan of like stores like that. I could go to Barnes and Noble and sit there for hours and buy nothing, which is probably why they shut down.
We've done that at Books A Million and go get a coffee and sit there and read books and
I love it.
Yeah. So but Hastings is a brand that I said I don't think they're going to make it when they
You're
did.
right.
But, one more sale I want to talk about. We were talking about just to kind of wrap up this new construction segment. Stillwater Development, which is actually a preferred developer, and I keep. All the D.R. Horton haters are going to just continue, probably not like me saying this, but they just bought another tract of land, D.R. Horton did, from Stillwater, and it looks like they bought part of Cedar Bluff Estates, which it kind of goes back to what you were talking about, Nathan, about going into an existing subdivision. Now, Cedar Bluff Estates is out in Colleen, and it's not there's not a it's just a parish government. There's not a city municipality out there. So lots 27 through 29 and lot 40 they paid about $264,000 for it, and so you'll see some new homes going out there. It's an interesting thought, because normally D.R. will only do big chunks. They want to do a bunch of lots. If they buy 30, 40 lots from you, but they normally don't do onesie-twosies. And according to this, it looks like they've only bought a handful of lots here. So Stillwater Development out of Lafayette, preferred developer, sells to D.R. Horton out of their office, their Texas office. So that's all I'm going to talk about as far as those particular that new construction segment. And I want to talk about some properties on the market. I'll tell you one we just listed, and I didn't think it was going to sell this quick, but the Old South Salvation Army.
Oh, okay.
On
by the
Beauregard
school board.
Street.
Yeah.
We listed that a week ago or so, put on MLS, and we listed it, and we had like 2 or 3 offers, like really within the first 24, 72 hours.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it was really quick, and we listed for $150,000. And it's about a 14,000 square foot building, but it's an older building, and it was used for all those years. I don't know what the buyer, and it hadn't closed yet, so I won't announce who's buying it, but I can tell you that we had a couple of good offers. All really wasn't trying to negotiate either. I think really, they all offered full price.
Wow.
But they what the one was one over the other because it had no financing contingencies, no appraisal contingencies. It was just, hey, look, I'll buy it for this. I'll close on this date. Wow. Period. And so that'll be interesting to see what happens to that building.
Seems like it would have been a natural extension for the school board being right there. I don't know what kind of storage capacity they need, but they typically can't move that fast.
No, and I'll tell you, we actually had right behind there, right across the street from the school board, the old Hempen car dealership. Okay. We had that listed for a year or so. I mean, we had it for a long time, and we contacted the school board about it, and we thought maybe they might want it for parking or like you said, storage or whatnot. But then, and it was priced fairly reasonable, but they didn't have a use for it. So, but yeah, so I think that's an interesting property that we had for sale, and actually is not available anymore. I will tell you that we do have about 27,000 feet that we're working. That is available at the Kmart. You're looking at me. I'm real close to being able to say who's going in that 23,000 feet. So we have 27,000 feet left over. And so that is available if anybody has a good idea for that. We'll tell you that we just listed a real good 1.5-acre property right next to Walmart and Whataburger on Pinecrest Drive. It sits right behind. If you took all the trees off of it, you'd go, where did that lot come from? Mm-hmm. It'd be one of those things.
Kind of like what's between the bank and the nursing home.
Yeah.
But on the other side of the road.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
That's right. Across the street from the apartments.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Right on the left. Great lot, especially if it kind of sits high. If someone wanted to build an office or have a business that they wanted some visibility from Highway 165, I think it's priced right at $395,000. So anybody that sometimes you just gotta point direction to someone and say, hey, look, this is what it could be. Picture this, and not everybody has that vision. I can tell you, I know Wayne Vollman had bought those lots for Whataburger and the Fast Pace and Bank of Montgomery, and all it took was him going in and taking the trees off, and the lot sold overnight. Joe, right across the street from here, Joe McPherson has about 9 acres, and Joe cleared that, and I suspect Joe's probably getting calls. He didn't have it listed. He doesn't have it listed, but I suspect he's probably getting calls since he cleared it. There would be, there's not very many 9-acre sites anywhere around that cluster of retail. And then we actually just we listed the former Union Bank, which First Guaranty Bank had their branch right there, right next to the nursing home, between Goodwill and the nursing home, and we actually have that under contract. We had 2 buyers, had a local credit union look at it. It didn't quite work out, and then we have another retail user that just came in and said, you know what, we'll buy it as is, and so we'll probably be able to talk about that sale on the next show.
Great. All right. Well, let's take our final break of the hour. We'll be back with more with Matt Ritchie right after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
The clinics welcome Dr. Noah Miller, family medicine physician, to our team. Dr. Miller from Vadrine, Louisiana, is now accepting new patients. Call today to schedule your appointment. The clinics offers a wide range of services, including primary care, family and chronic care, urgent and acute care with on-site lab and x-ray. Same-day appointments are available, and we accept most insurance and Medicare. Experience exceptional care at the clinics, 1587 North Bolton. Call 445-9823 or look us up online at theclinics.us.
Attention all real estate agents, property owners, and lenders. When you or a client needs a real estate attorney, call the professionals at Thompson Law Firm. Whether the legal matter is basic or complex, the Thompson Law Firm can accurately guide you or your client to a successful outcome. That's why numerous industry professionals have trusted the Thompson Law Firm for years. They also handle estate planning, successions, and business law. Call them at 473-0052. I am a paid non-client attorney spokesperson.
A sizzling T-bone steak, a mouth-watering char-grilled hamburger, a slow-smoked pork tender brisket. There are plenty of reasons to grill beef this Labor Day weekend. Beef is packed with protein, and with 29 cuts of lean beef to choose from, there's always something succulent to serve to your family. So this Labor Day weekend and all summer long, be the hero of your backyard barbecue by serving what everybody wants, the delicious taste of beef. So remember, beef, it's what's for dinner. Brought to you by the Louisiana Cattle Producers through the Louisiana Beef Industry Council and the Beef Checkoff.
Now back to Talkback, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
Welcome back to Talkback, the final hour. Final countdown with Matt Ritchie, the Central Louisiana Economic Update. Matt, what else you got?
Where does the time go? I want to talk about a industrial land site that we have available right off of Highway 165 and the interstate, right off when you're coming over the 165 bridge, the former OK Island Bridge. We've got about 100 acres there total. We got it breaks down into about a 14-acre tract, and then I think we've got somewhere plus or minus around 80 acres. That's really good, has really good visibility. It butts up to the levee, real good access in and off the interstate. Anybody have any ideas or uses for that? It's priced right, in my opinion, and it could be a really. It's one of those things you're going to say, well, why didn't I think of that? Whenever you start seeing some buildings, once somebody buys it and they put something there, they're going to go, well, that was a sleeper. And so if anybody has any industrial or commercial needs and wants to be in that part of town, give me a call. We can talk more about it. I will tell you also, we've got some out parcel tracks out off of Highway 1, off of the Cottingham Expressway, right next to Super One. We've got a 3-acre tract right next door, and then we have another 1-acre tract, and then next to the Super One fuels out parcel, we have about an 0.8 of an acre tract. Those are great out parcel sites. As we just mentioned, that whole Old Kings Country area is starting to get absorbed. Any vacant land, and that's been a long time coming. Lowe's has been there 15 years, Nathan, somewhere around that.
Yeah.
I think Walmart's been moved for about 20 to 20. They've been there since about 2000, and so if you think about how much time it's taken to absorb all that vacant property over there, there's still a few key parcels, and as it starts selling and the market starts absorbing it, prices goes up. So just know that if anybody's even thinking about being over there, to know that as all that gets absorbed, the price will go up. Another property I'm going to go ahead and mention. I don't talk about it a whole lot. I do have my sister and I own it. It's the Milady House, 5800 England Drive. We do have that building up for sale. It's a great venue. Super great venue. My sister handles it. She runs it. I mean, we had at least actually an operator, and the operator couldn't operate it anymore, and so my sister's kind of handling it temporarily, rents it out for weddings and other events.
My sister-in-law got married there.
Oh, is that right?
Mm-hmm. I've been to weddings.
It was a nice wedding.
Beautiful facility.
Yeah, and Amanda's out there doing a lot of great things right now, doing a lot of improvements and getting it ready for sale. We do have it on the market. It's about believe it or not, it's about a 12,000 square foot home or building. And sits on about 4 acres of land, gorgeous lot.
It is.
And so anybody out there thought about getting into the wedding venue business, give us a call at 449-8919. We've showed it to a few people who've told us that they want to be in that business. They're going to do it. They have the money, and they're looking to build something new. They're going to be spending over $2 million, and we're priced at $985,000. And so you could be into this thing for half of what it would cost to build a new event, and it's established and it's got a good following already. So anybody out there listening that has any interest in that, give us a call, 449-8919. And then another property I want to mention is 10,000 square feet on the corner of North Boulevard and North Drive. I think it's a great 10,000 square foot building. Used to be former First Federal Bank building. Fantastic building that the bank used to be in. And we just hadn't found the right user for it, either a tenant or for sale. So if you think about it, if you need that 10,000 square feet, great location, lots of traffic. And when I hear that sound, that means we're off.
Went by fast.
It always flies by.
Yeah. And I'll be here the first Tuesday of September.
Great. I always look forward to your updates. Appreciate you, Matt Ritchie, with the Central Louisiana Economic Update. If you need information on any of these listings or anything else, what's the phone number, Matt?
318-449-8919.
Give them a call. You'll be glad you did. All right, back tomorrow morning. I think, is Trish coming in tomorrow morning early? I know Jeff Powell will be here, and also Greg Walker in the second hour. So it'll be a good day tomorrow.
Listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenla Broadcasting.
AM 970, FM 104.9, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3, HD3.